So you're trying to figure out which real estate company you want to work for. You just got your license. Yeah, that's definitely something to think about. All right, I'm just going to kind of illustrate my journey as a real estate broker here in California. And you could kind of take whatever you could take away from the video, deduct your own reasoning and conclusions. But I'm just going to be transparent, just like any other video that I post on YouTube or Instagram or whatever. So you decide which way you want to go with this. All right, so I'm going to share my screen and kind of keep a really simple illustration for you to follow. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about my journey. All right. So when I got licensed, if you saw my other videos on YouTube, you heard I started part-time. Yeah, I had a regular day job. All right. So I had a regular day job and I worked for this outfit called Prudential California Realty. All right. That was a company I worked for. And I was there a long time. I had a regular day job and I worked part-time at night. And what was nice was they didn't hold that against me. And I know there was another local company in town that they held it against me. They were like, no part-timers, you can't cut it, blah, 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 blah. Well, big mistake on their part because I became one of the biggest producers in all San Diego County, top 1% nationwide. As a matter of fact, my biggest year ever was 113 transactions. All right. And so Prudential California Realty, just an FYI, if you fast forward it to today's kind of brokerages, it's very much like a Berkshire Hathaway corporation. As a matter of fact, they took over a lot of the Prudential California Realties here in California when the market shifted. So when the market shut down, there was a lot of acquisitions and transactions being exchange of hands, just like right now. You see that again, believe it or not, with this changing economy, Prudential California Realty disappeared. And Berkshire Hathaway Home Services of America, they took over a lot of the California businesses. And I was no longer there because the next company that I went to was a boutique, and let's just say ABC Boutique. Okay, I became a vice president of an REO company. They heard that I had left Prudential California Realty, South San Diego, so I went into La Jolla for a while, and I went there. And by the way, Compass is just like Prudential California Realty. Berkshire Hathaway is just like it's the corporate type of big box. And I went to this boutique. Now, there's pluses and minuses with boutiques, where the rules could constantly be changing. Okay, when you're in a big corporate box, there are rules set in place, and it's very hard for things to change. Okay, so if you're looking for more structure, there's a trade-off, because at one point I made over $1 million gross commission income. And that year I gave Prudential California Realty plus a broker owner plus a franchise fee over $200,000. Okay. So I want you to kind of consider, okay, there is kind of a pay to play model where I decided it didn't make no more sense was when I talked to the broker owner once in that year, the very, very like close to my last year there. I'm like, I just gave $200,000 and I think it covered the whole lease of the company. Anyway, and so you got to look at it from that regard. And I want you to kind of think about it. If your benefits exceed the cost, that's not a bad deal. However, if your costs exceed your benefits, where I paid $200,000 of my GCA, gross commission income, I had to give back to the house. I was like, wow, my benefit was way down here. It stopped making sense. So anyway, I went to the boutique, and it was a different structure. It was an REO company. I wasn't the owner. There was some pluses and minuses like everything else, but I think the biggest one was it was very loosely run, and compensations were sometimes word of mouth, sometimes very loosey-goosey. So, if you like some autonomy or a lot of autonomy, I mean, there's some, I guess what we call mom and pop shops or boutiques around town that you could probably latch onto. But the downside, there's very little resources and structure, and all that could be the downside. Okay, so we started bumping heads, and we weren't seeing eye to eye on a lot of things, and I decided to resign. And so I left that company, and I went to Keller Williams. So at Keller Williams, I was there for a while. I was there for about a year. And the Keller Williams model, they taught me a lot. I would say the training was definitely very, very good. As a matter of fact, I think one of the things they say is we're a marketing company that happens to be in real estate or vice versa, something like that. I was a pseudo team leader. I was helping recruit, and I was there in Nobel Drive here in San Diego by La Jolla UTC. And here's what really was like the aha moment. Okay, so they got a recruiting component to it where I was helping build the company. I was helping recruit. As a matter of fact, there's some agents still there at that same one. However, not on Nobel Drive. Okay. So as I was bringing in these agents, I was talking to the team leader. I go, hey, Randy, dude, these agents are coming in. They're closing transactions. Where's my compensation? I thought this was like a kind of a multi-level kind of structure, et cetera. And he said, hey, Joe, did you read the fine print? I'm like, dude, what do you mean? Well, Joe, just because the agent is selling and they're making money doesn't mean that our office is profitable. Okay, so Keller Williams has a profit share, and lo and behold, that was my aha moment where I was like, whoa, I just helped build this company, this branch, and I got zero. So I was like, whoa, that just didn't make sense for me. Anyway, I got recruited again. This was a really crazy time, by the way, 2009, where the mortgage meltdown was happening. One of my friends actually said, hey, Joe, come on over. Let's build this mortgage modification company. We'll pay you X. I kind of like 1 foot in, 1 foot out of Keller Williams, and because things weren't working out there either. So I went to my friend, kind of did twilighting at night. And then if you look back on the mortgage modifications, there was a lot of bad things and crackdowns happening. And we were trying to do everything right. We were, the guys that I operated with were very reputable. And you look at my license, it's pretty darn clean as well. And so I've always kept that kind of reputation. Anyway, my experience with Keller Williams was, I'd say so-so. If you like the brick and mortar, they have it. The multiple level structure, I'm not a big fan of it. The MREA book, Millionaire Real Estate Agent book by Gary Keller, it's a great book. So I would highly recommend you pick it up if it's one of those things that you want to really build a business, not just be a realtor. Pick up that book because you're going to learn how to run your business. As a matter of fact, I took off for 3 weeks to the Philippines one time. The hardest job for me when I came back was, okay, which check should I cash first? Because I built my business to the 7th level. My team, my company ran without me. Yeah, it was very, very good. But again, there's always pluses and minuses to everything. I don't want to sound like I'm one-sided to one company or another. If you know me, I am very agnostic on brands, especially being a coach. I coach all brands. So if you look at my credibility or my resume or LinkedIn or whatever, I have a lot of proof of success, and they're across all brands, from Compass to Keller Williams to EXP to Real to LPT, you name it. When I'm a coach, I coach. Okay, and I've coached some giants in the country, if not the world. I have a couple clients in Canada that are working with me right now, 200 plus units. It's May. It's only May. I've got a client that I'm coaching in number one in the city, and she's already made over 1.1 million GCI. So I don't coach everybody on a one-to-one basis. There's only so much time in the day. Anyway, from Keller Williams, I decided to form my own company. I had my broker license since day one. I always thought one day I'm going to open up my own company, and I did. And so after Keller Williams, I was like, you know what, the heck with it. Mortgage modifications weren't working. Keller Williams wasn't working. This was a very crazy time from 2007 to about 2011. I said it was very, very crazy time. I think I launched my business 2010, my own private boutique. I grew it out to like 50 agents or so. And in between that time, I joined another company that was a flat fee. Okay, a flat fee model. Okay, I was a broker of the state. Okay, so at one point I was a broker of the state of California, and their flat fee model. I'll tell you, I'll laugh because now I can laugh, but back then I was crying. I guess you could say not literally, but figuratively crying, because that's a model. If you want to go really, really broke, that's a model for you. That's my opinion. And that's what was happening, because if you're charging only like $500 per transaction and the agent gets a rest, well, how could you really keep that company afloat, that business afloat? Well, you got to have ancillary services. You got to have title, lending, insurance, whatever you could add as a bolt-on into that brokerage. Okay, so I was the broker of the state, and it took a while to launch that, create the paperwork, the branding, the signage, and I recruited like crazy. Okay, all these times, as a matter of fact, I recruited like crazy. I'm a great recruiter. Always be recruiting if you're growing a company or business or a team. That flat fee model, I grew it out pretty well, and then they started to micromanage me, and I was like, dude, you're micromanaging me now. Why? so hey, truth be told, I'm recording here and I'm very transparent, and a lot of people agreed with me, like, dude, Joe's doing so awesome, leave him alone. And when somebody starts clamping down on me like that, I'm doing what I'm supposed to, maybe even more, it's going to rub me the wrong way. And so I left. I resigned. And so after that, I went back and relaunched my own company. Same brand, same everything. I had everything going, and it worked out okay. Now, again, just like ABC Boutique, there's pluses and minuses, and I kept struggling with that. It was one of those things. I'm constantly competing against the big boys and girls. No website that I could share with my agents. Systems, I kept having to reinvent myself over and over again, and just kind of this constant battle. And so, like, somebody approached me years ago, when I was here at this flat fee model. I divorced the business, and somebody approached me and goes, hey, you should check out EXP. And I'm like, I just had a bad divorce with this company, leave me alone. I was kind of sticking my head in the sand and trying to regroup. It wasn't the right time, and so I kind of put it aside. And bittersweet news, he's one of the board members of EXP, a really good friend of mine. If you watch my YouTube channel, you'll know exactly who he is. So check out my YouTube channel and you'll know exactly who I'm talking about. He approached me, and I kind of look at it back then like, darn it, I should have jumped on that opportunity, because it would have been very, very lucrative. But hey, you know what? I'm a big believer, and God has a plan. God has a plan. It's God's time, not my time. So anyway, I didn't go for EXP back then. I went back to my own brokerage. I relaunched it and kept pushing and pushing, and I built it back up, had several agents. And then 2020, guess what happened? COVID hit, right? So COVID hit, and I'm like, oh no, here we go again. Mortgage meltdown. I'm going to get crazy. So I shut it down and I joined EXP. And there was a lot of reasons. Part of it was like that story I just shared, where I went back to that opportunity where, like, you know what? I'm competing against the big boys and girls. I don't have much to offer. This is a way it could potentially exit. One of their core values is collaboration. I like that a lot still today. So there was a lot of reasons. So I did a lot of homework. There was so many different other EXP people trying to recruit me. And logistically, I picked a lineage that I thought would work out the best. And so far, I don't regret my decision at all. There's pluses and minuses to every single company out there. I could tell you this one thing. Some of you probably recently saw that Remax joined Real, or Real picked up Remax, however way you want to cut it up. Well, Remax, Keller Williams was a derivative of Remax, okay? I've had my broker license almost 30 years. So I know companies, I know history, I know brokerages, I know a ton. Okay. So you're looking at a guy who was a top producer, one point number 7 in all San Diego County. I coach a lot now. I'm just kind of building up my other companies, what have you. So I got a lot of credibility. Keller Williams, well, guess what? They broke away because they didn't like the Remax model. EXP, there was Keller Williams agents that didn't like their model, so they tweaked it and they formed EXP. There was some agents that didn't like EXP model, so they formed Real. And so, you just have these spin-offs. So I would just say, there's Starbucks, there's Pete's Coffee, there's 7-Eleven Coffee, there's McDonald's, there's In-N-Out, there's Burger King. You pick whatever works for you. As a coach, like I said, I am black and white. I coach and I just help my agents produce. And some of them are with really, really big brands. Some of them are boutiques. Some of them are flat fee. Some of them are these multi-level structures. I even coach my competitors. I have some clients at Real. I have some clients at LPT. I coach. When I coach, I coach. Okay. But I wanted to share this kind of for you to kind of check out. I would consider culture, I would consider splits. I would consider resources. I would consider leadership. I would consider monthly fees. I would consider events. Heck, I would consider a lot of these different things, and so far, I am happy where I'm at. I've been here going on 5 years now, plus or minus, and I'm still here at EXP Realty of Southern California. I'll probably save another video for another day. For a quick minute, I jumped into EXP commercial. There's pluses and minuses to that as well, but today I really wanted to focus on the residential brokerage model, and so that's what it is that I would strongly consider residential brokerage whatever analysis. I don't know. So I'm just kind of putting it out there, guys, as you know, on my YouTube channel. If you like what you're seeing, of course, subscribe, share with a friend. But that's it, guys. This was my true history. I'm still a licensed broker. I still love real estate. I still help my friends and family. I don't do a lot of deals like before as an individual, but as a team, our team's doing pretty well. I've got about 34 agents all across the country. I am looking to add to my team. So if you're looking for a leader like myself, if you're looking for resources, if you're looking for experience, I'm probably your guy. If not, check me out. See what I put out there on my YouTube channel, on Instagram. There's very, very, very few people have the experience that I do, that also understands investments and commercial real estate like I do. So yeah, check this out. Culture, splits, resources, leadership, monthly fees, events, tech. Comment below if there's anything that I missed or anything else that you want to see for future videos. As I mentioned, I'm still in the game. I'm still in real estate, plan to be in real estate for life. Probably can't plan to coach for life. The capacity is different though, right? I don't coach every day. I don't sell real estate every day, and so it's one of those things that I know the lifestyle I want to live and I'm very content with it. I would consider myself rich in many other ways. I train jujitsu, sometimes 3 to 4 times a week. How about you? Okay. And that's where I would say I'm rich in many, many other ways that, yeah, some people may have beat me financially, but I guarantee you their personal life stinks. Okay. So you need to figure that out. As you get older, you get wiser. I'm in my 50s now, and I'm definitely way wiser than ever. So check this out. Like it, subscribe, share, but figure this out. Reach out to me if you really want to go one-on-one. As I mentioned, I'm still recruiting, still building my team, still looking for other people that are like-minded, that would fit into my culture, my training, my et cetera, et cetera. And if you like EXP, that's where I'm at right now. And I don't plan to leave. So check out the EXP Realty model too if you're considering, if you wanted coaching. I do work with Tom Ferry, and he's a giant. And so I respect and admire him a lot. And yeah, if you want to just coach with me via Tom Ferry, reach out as well. All right, guys, take care. God bless. See you later, alligator. Subscribe, like, and hopefully this helps. Take care. Bye.